guys, welcome back to my channel. I feel like this video is long overdue simply because I got these books back in, well, some of them are still arriving. I think I'm waiting on one more book, but yeah, I just can't wait anymore. I'm going to show you all the books that I got for Christmas. So this is going to be like a little book haul of all the books I've gotten recently. And okay, let's get into it. So first book here, I actually am already in the middle of reading it, as you see the bookmark here. This is Alice Feeney, Rock, Paper, Scissors. This is a thriller, and it's about a husband and a wife. Their marriage is kind of like in a crisis, so they decide to go away. Well, actually, the wife, she ends up winning this trip to, for like a chapel. So they end up staying there, and weird things start happening. These next two books here are part of a series. I actually read Divine Rivals on my Kindle. I love it. It's a 5 out of 5. This, I would say, is more of a romance. It's not really a fantasy. There are fantasy aspects in here, but the letters that they wrote were so beautiful. I loved it, so I had to actually get the physical copy. So this is a romance between Iris and Roman, and it is young adult, so there's not really a lot of spice into it. They are living, well, I guess the aspect of how they're living is fancy because the gods are at war. So they are two journalists reporting about the war and what's going on. This vows, I actually did just finish this. So, you know, when I say this has been long overdue, it's been long overdue. I've been reading these books and I've been finishing them with quickness, but this was definitely a highly anticipated book. I pre-ordered this at Barnes & Noble's, actually, very last minute. And so we read this, and this one, it's part 2, Ruthless Vows. And this book is, it's a duology, so it's just 2 of them. So this is the final book. And this one gets a little bit more into the war, just a little bit. So there is more aspects of fantasy in here, but it's still, I still would say it's more of a romance, and it is YA, so there's not really a lot of spice or anything in it, but I loved it. I loved the way it ended. 5-star series. The Ballad of Never After. In one of my vlogs, I actually read Once Upon a Broken Heart, and this is the continuation of the series. This is A Ballad of Never After, book 2, and I did finish reading this. So I still have to finish the series because I'm not completely done, but I did finish reading this. I gave this 5 stars, and I don't want to get too much into it because, again, this is the second book in a series. So this is a fantasy YA young adult. The way it ended, speaking of the Once Upon a Heart trilogy, because it's 3 books, I also got A Curse for True Love. They only have the hardcover, and my Once Upon a Broken Heart is paperback, so I feel like I need to get the Once Upon a Broken Heart in hardcover to match this, because right now it's on my bookshelf, but they're not together. I also haven't finished this one yet, but this is the 3rd one, A Curse for True Love. Again, this is YA, it's a fantasy, and I'm really interested to see how this ends. So I don't know when I'm gonna pick this up, but I'm really excited for it. Again, I'm gonna be very vague for books that are like in the middle of a series because I don't want to give too much away. And knowing me, I feel like if I start talking, I won't shut up and I will give you a lot of spoilers, and that's not what this video is. Next, we have these books here. They are also part of a series. This is the Throne of Glass series. You can read it in different orders. I finished Assassin's Blade. I did read that first. That's the little novella, and that's kind of like a backstory of how Selena was before everything happened in this book here. Throne of Glass, I believe, you know, they're still in a world with no magic. In the novella, they also have no magic in that world, and I believe there's trials in here where she has to try to win her freedom. I haven't started it yet, but she said the bookmark is here because this is going to be what I start I'm thinking once I finish Rock, Paper, Scissors. So we just went ahead and bookmarked it. Crown of Midnight, which comes next if you're doing it in the reading order that I'm doing it, which was Assassin's Blade, then Throne of Glass. This is also a fantasy, so this takes place after the events of Throne of Glass. So don't really know what's going on here. Didn't read the description or anything like that because I haven't read Throne of Glass. So I don't want to really spoil anything for myself. But this is the third book in the order that I'm reading for the Throne of Glass series. I saw this. This is Fairy Tale. And I think this is a fantasy. Oh, wow. Let's take this book back to Barnes & Noble because I need to get a different copy because the bottom is completely messed up and I'm so sad. But this is a Fairy Tale by Stephen King, and this is actually a horror. I've been wanting to get more into his books. I read Misery by him last summer, so this is a kind of thick one, so we'll see when I read it. I know what this is about actually. I just know that it's a horror and it's one of his newer ones, so we'll see when we get into this. Dark Window. This is a fantasy. This girl, I can't pronounce the name, meets a mysterious highwayman on the forest road, and then her life takes a dramatic turn. Thrust into a world of shadow and deception, she joins a dangerous quest to cure the lunder of the dark magic infecting it. Except the highwayman just so happens to be the king's own nephew, captain of the most dangerous men in Blunder, and guilty of high treason. Blech. I just thought this was really interesting. I heard that this, I think, is supposed to be more of like a gothic fantasy, and I've seen a lot of people posting about this. So I'm itching to read this like right now, but I'm still in the middle of some other stuff, so who knows. I'm such a mood reader, so whenever I feel the mood to read this, I'm just gonna pick it up. Next we have Golden Sun. This is the second book in the Red Rising series. Technically the way it could be read is that the first 3 books are like their own trilogy, and then I think the next 3 books, this is like a total of 6 books, are like their own trilogy, but this part of the trilogy continues to follow Darrow, and again, this is the second book in the series, so I don't want to get too deep into detail, but the back says he seeks justice to free his enslaved people. Darrow has infiltrated his world's brutal ruling class on a mission to destroy them, and though the only path to liberation is revolution, he must strive not for vengeance but for a hopeful rebirth. So again, I've picked up a lot of series, or like series I'm in the middle of, because I want to complete them, and I'm doing actually really good at not buying them all at one time, because with ACOTAR I bought it all at one time. Luckily I ended up loving that series, but I'm trying not to do that, because if I don't love it, then I'm gonna have it, and then so series that I love, I'm trying to continue. So I bought just the second, or I bought the second and the third. I said this in another video. I made the mistake of picking this up. Not the mistake of this book is going to be bad. This is The King of the Rising, but this is actually book 2 in a series. So now I have to get book 1 before I read this. So this is going to be sitting on my shelf until I can find book 1. I haven't seen it, so I'm going to see if I can just order it on Amazon. But not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna try to get some more of these books off of my TBR before I do that. Or if I'm just itching to try to read this, I might just go ahead and order the first book. But this book is about a revolution that has swept through the islands of Hans Nokia, and former slave Lauren has been chosen to lead the survivors in a bid to free the islands forever. So I don't know if I just ruined it for myself, but it doesn't seem like I ruined anything. It feels like it could be like a standalone. I ended up reading the first paragraph in Barnes & Noble, and I was like, yes, I'm getting this book. So that's where most of these books are from Barnes & Noble. A couple are from Amazon. This was actually recommended to me. This, again, is like a thick one, like very thick. And so this, I have no idea. This is supposed to be like a horror fantasy, like they're on Mars. It says Paradise One, Earth's first deep space colony. For thousands of people, it was an opportunity for a new life until it went dark. No communication has been received from the colony for months, and it falls to Firewatch Inspector Alexandra Petroval and the crew of the Artemis to investigate. What they find is more horrifying than anything they could have imagined. And the guy who recommended this to me actually said that he had to put this down. So I was like, I need to see what that's about. The fact that you had to put this down and like take a break before you finished it. I need to see. Next we have Rogue by Mona Awa, and this is supposed to be a thriller, I think. For as long as she can remember, Bella has been insinuously obsessed with skin and skincare videos. When her estranged mother, Noella, mysteriously dies, Bella finds herself back in Southern California dealing with her mother's considerable depths and grappling with lingering questions about her death. The stakes escalate when a strange woman in red appears at the funeral, offering a tantalizing clue about her mother's demise. Followed by a cryptic video about a transformative spa experience. So I picked this up not knowing anything about it. I had just seen it in the cover, and I was like, I want to try this author. I want to try more horror and more thriller, because I'm definitely a thriller reader. So I wanted to pick up more thrillers and more fantasies because I feel like that's what I gravitate more towards, is thrillers and fantasies. Next I picked up House of Sky and Breath. This is the second book in the Crescent Cities series. I haven't started the first book at all. I do have the first book. It's also on my cart. But I love ACOTAR. I love Throne of Glass so far. So I just figured, why not have this so I can still be a part of like this whole little mass universe, and I cannot wait to read this. I actually got this before I got my Christmas books, so but I'm gonna include it because I haven't done like an official book haul for this channel like at all, and I got like a bunch of new books, so I'm gonna include this in here. This is also part of my January TBR, but I have not read it yet. It's Never by Jessa Hastings. This is a Peter Pan retelling, and I love a good retelling, so I'm interested to see if I like it. Someone said that this got them out their book slump, and other people on TikTok have said bad things about it. So, series that I've been itching and dying to read. I've heard this is compared to Gossip Girl so much. So I have Magnolia Parks, and yes, it's ripped here. My son did that. That's completely my fault. Maybe once I like it, I might just buy another one to replace it. We'll see. But I got Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates. These I think are like the first two, and I'm just interested to see if I do like the series. I heard it is very toxic, like a toxic romance, and they're supposed to be rich. We'll see if it lives up to the hype. Last two books here are by the same author, so I wanted to pick up more of her books. This is a series by Miss Kennedy Ryan. It's called Hookshot. I think this is the first one in the series. There's also Long Shot and Block Shot. This is supposed to be a it's supposed to be a basketball. Yeah, this is supposed to be a basketball romance, and it involves a single divorced dad. And I guess it's gonna be an age gap, or it might be. It might be because she's 25. It says on the back, so it might be a romance. So I know nothing about this book. I just picked it up because I want to read more by this author. This one here, also by Kennedy Ryan. This is The Kingmaker, and this is supposed to be a billionaire romance. And that's all I know about it. I've been wanting to find this book just because I really want to read more of her work, and I kept seeing this on Goodreads, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick this up and I'm gonna read it. So those are all the books that I got. That was my little book haul from books I got for Christmas. Some I got after. I am waiting on one book now, but it's more of like a little self-help book because I do want to like branch out and read more books, but I also at the same time want to stick to like my comfort zone of thrillers and fantasies. But I do want to read more romance. February, I'm definitely going to read a lot of romances because it is February. So if you have any recommendations or if you read any of these books, let me know what you think below. No spoilers, but just let me know what you think below. Also, I've been trying to find a new way to pick out my TBR, so I've been trying out things. So I don't know what I'm going to do for February. But if you guys have any ideals, I see a lot of people do TBR jars, but I want to do something a little bit different. Maybe get you guys involved in picking out my TBR. So if you can think of anything like that, let me know below. Also, you can comment a little fairy if you made it this far in the video. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing y'all the next time. Bye.